Hello guys, welcome to another video. Today we're gonna talk about 5 countries in Europe that offer residence permits by investment. But that's not any kind of investment. In this video, we're going to focus on getting a residence permit by making a passive investment. So the options are investing money in a fund, or buying government bonds, or buying stocks, or just parking money in a bank account in the country you're going to move to. There are many countries, including some in this list, that also offer options if you want to invest in real estate, but they will be not part of this video. So if you just want to park your money in stocks, government funds, government bonds, and get a residence permit and potentially a citizenship in the future, this video is for you. And before we start, like always, I have to say this: if you want to travel, move, or invest abroad, hit the like button, check our other videos, book a consultation call with me. It will be a pleasure for me to help you planning your immigration strategy, and most importantly, subscribe! Let's start! The first country in the list is Spain. We will start our list of European countries offering residence permits by investing passively with one of the most popular countries here on the channel, which is Spain. Spain is one of the European countries with the highest quality of life. It has great cities, Madrid, Barcelona, seaside, mountains, tapas, healthcare, a beautiful language, stone houses. Anyway, as you probably already know, Spain is just amazing. However, we are doing this list from the most expensive option to the cheapest option, which means that from the countries in today's list, Spain is actually the one with the highest financial requirements for passive investors in different financial options, financial instruments available to get a residence permit. Actually, Spain, if we consider actually is one of the most expensive, it is the most expensive in the list today. It has a pretty good number of options for passive investors, which kind of makes up for the high amounts required. So here are the options for Spain. You can opt for buying 2 million euros in Spanish government bonds, but there are also cheaper options, if we can call them cheap anyway. You can also invest, for example, 1 million euros into a number of Spanish investment funds. That also qualifies you to get a residence permit in Spain. If you are more risk averse, you can also just park 1 million euros into a Spanish bank. It will also render you eligible for a Spanish residence permit by investment. But let's not forget that Spain also has a real estate investment option, which we're not going to cover much in this video, but it is much cheaper, at just 500,000 euros. I made a video about it. If you want to consider the property investment option, you can go and get more information in that video. The second country in the list is Portugal. Portugal is once again featured on the channel. That's already not a novelty, since Portugal, every second video we talk again about Portugal. As a matter of fact, Portugal is one of the most popular countries when it comes also to golden visas and residency by investment. The most popular investment type to acquire residency in Portugal, just like Spain, is through real estate. However, there are also other least known options, and one of them is by investing in approved investment funds. They can be a good option if you're not looking to buy property in the country, and for example, if you want to have a higher liquidity after you get permanent residency in Portugal and also the Portuguese citizenship. The residency by investment in Portugal currently requires the sum of 350,000 euros to be invested in a number of funds approved by the Portuguese government. You are actually able to get some yield from this investment, but considering the fees involved in the procedure, I wouldn't call it a great investment from the financial point of view. However, considering it will lead to permanent residency and citizenship in Portugal, it is actually a pretty sweet deal. After 5 years residing in Portugal, you can get PR, permanent residency, and after 1 year living in Portugal as a permanent resident, you will be able to apply for citizenship. The next country in the list is Cyprus. Cyprus is another country often mentioned here on the channel, not only for its easy ways to acquire residency, but also as one of the countries with the lowest tax rates in the European Union. Cyprus is a full European Union member, and it uses the euro as its currency, bringing a high level of economic stability for people willing to invest and reside in the country. If you want to live in Cyprus and invest passively with the sum of 300,000 euros in alternative investment funds based in the country, you can get residency in Cyprus. But one important aspect here is that you need to keep the money invested for at least 5 years in this type of fund. However, Cyprus has a very important advantage if you compare it to Spain or Portugal, because in Cyprus you will actually get a permanent residence permit right away. while in Spain and Portugal, for example, which are also part of the EU, you'll first get a temporary residence permit, and after renewing it for some years, it will then lead to permanent residency. So Cyprus is actually the cheapest country in the European Union if you want to get a permanent residence permit by investing passively. There is also the option of Malta if you want to get a permanent residence permit, and it's actually cheaper than Cyprus, but in Malta it is actually through a donation, not investing. In Cyprus, you'll get the money back, the money you invested, minus the fees, after 5 years, and you can even get a yield from the fund. The next country is in the Baltic region of Europe, which is Latvia. Latvia is a great option if you want to live in the European Union, in a country which is part of the Schengen area, and you want to get a residence permit by investing passively. Latvia is a very stable country with a solid economy, although the country is currently growing at a very modest rate comparable to most Western European countries. To acquire residency by investing passively in Latvia, you need to invest 250,000 euros in interest-free bonds. This money will not be lost as it's not a donation, but there are government fees in the value of 38,000 euros to process this type of residency in Latvia. So it is a good option. If you are very risk averse, you can just park the money there and get a residence permit in Latvia. Investing in bonds in Latvia leads to permanent residency after 5 years, and in the long run, after 10 years residing in the country, you can apply for Latvian citizenship. Latvia is probably the best option if you want to live in the northern part of Europe, as most countries offering this type of residency by investment are actually in southern Europe, and the other countries in northern Europe do not have similar types of residence permits by investment. The last country in today's list is Ukraine. Ukraine not only offers residency by investment, but it also offers one of the best deals if you want to live in Europe with an extremely low cost of living, but also with a pretty high overall quality of life. In my opinion, actually, Ukraine is one of the most underrated countries in the continent. Apart from that, Ukraine is also a great option if you want to get a permanent residence permit in a European country with a relatively low investment. If you invest $100,000 in the Ukrainian economy, you can qualify for a permanent residence permit right away. In fact, you have to invest $100,000 into an Ukrainian company, which can be your own company incorporated in the country. After the investment, you can develop a number of activities with the money invested in the company, such as financial investment in Ukraine, for example. But if you want to actually be more active, you can also open an actual business and, for example, a coffee shop in Ukraine. This is also an option. So in Ukraine you can get a permanent residence permit, and then you can choose if you want to go with a more passive route or if you want to do some more hands-on action. Ukraine is the cheapest option in the list, and it is not part of the European Union, but just like Cyprus, which is actually part of the European Union, you can get a permanent resident permit right from the start. The other countries in the list, you get a temporary residence permit, and then if you stay in the country enough time, you can get the permanent residence permit and finally the citizenship. That's it for today's video. Please write in the comments below if you prefer to live with passive investments or you want to be more busy, more active in the new country you're going to reside and, for example, invest in real estate or open a company. You can also write down which country of this list is the one you would move to if you had the chance. So, if you want to travel, move or invest abroad, you already know what you have to do. Hit the like button, check our other videos, book a consultation call, the links in the description, and most importantly, subscribe! See you next time.